Victor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you asking me to get involved in this. I
You
think
know
it's
what?
very cool.
I had to reach out to you for many reasons, but I think the number one reason is you're highly sought after as a bassist. You obviously bring a lot to the table. There's so many amazing things that people lament about. And so my question is, where did it all come from? Where did you get your start? Are you originally from this area, or tell us about it? Take us way back.
No, so I'm originally from a little town in Arkansas called El Dorado.
Okay.
And I was born and raised there. I lived there until I was about 20.
Mm-hmm.
Joined the Navy, and then I got to California. But along the way,
All right.
I was one of these kids who I got to roll with my dad a lot.
Okay.
So he had a few friends who were musicians, and invariably I would go to these musicians' house with them, and most of them had a piano.
Yeah.
So I was attracted to the piano like nobody's business, man. And it kept me occupied. I was not in this, I wouldn't get anybody's way.
Okay.
And I wasn't particularly rambunctious about it. I would just, pink around.
Right.
And, that kind of developed, through things. And I would, hear stuff on the radio. My dad had record players. And so I would try and reproduce some of the things that I was hearing,
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out pretty good, man. My dad decided to give me piano lessons. Now, I didn't wind up staying with that, but it was.
Oh, we know that.
Oh yeah, it was a great ground. Laid some good groundwork for what I wound up doing later.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a trumpet player all through junior high school and high school band. Even got a scholarship to do it.
So you went to Southern State, basically, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I didn't graduate. I kind of ran out of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so moved back home. And well, the thing about Southern State, here's the thing. This is where I started playing bass.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was, like I said, I had a scholarship for playing trumpet.
Okay.
And there were some guys in the college band that they wanted to do a combo.
Okay.
They were looking for a bass player. They just so happened that the summer before I started college, I bought a bass.
Nice.
Didn't really know how to play it yet, but I had been interested in it for quite some time.
So basically, you switched to bass in college.
Yeah, that's where I really got into playing bass.
Okay.
And so these guys, they wanted to start a band. They needed a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
They asked if I knew any bass players. I said, well, I just bought a bass. I don't really know how to play it yet, but hey, if you guys are willing to work with me, I would definitely work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it went from there, man. I played in the name of the band was called The In-Between.
Nice.
1973.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did that. Like I said, I wound up not finishing college because I ran out of money. So I moved back home, tried to work a little bit, earn some money. I played in some bands, and then I joined the Navy.
Okay.
That's how I got to California.
Wonderful.
Did 7 years in the Navy, made some contacts, got into touch with some people that I knew, that played music.
Right.
And
right.
so after I got out of the Navy, I recontacted these people and they wanted to play. They wanted me to play with them. So I've been probably in a dozen bands over that time. This is 1982 when I actually started doing this for real. And of course, I've had a day job all that time too, but I've been doing the music as seriously as I can possibly manage to do it.
Let me ask you a question about the concept of musicians that just do it full time versus those that want the stability of a day job. What was it that put you in that mode of thinking? Because a lot of players wouldn't do that, but it's actually smart, but it really depends on the situation. So why that not just going all the way?
It was a situation where I was married.
Okay.
I was about to be married. And the lady that I was married, she had children.
Okay.
Kimberly, that's my wife.
Oh, nice.
She had a daughter. And so I didn't want to put them in a situation where it was going to be wondering where they were going to eat and everything. So, and I learned some skills in the Navy that made it possible for me to get a good job. So I took advantage of that.
Right.
But I, as much as I could, whenever I could, I was playing music.
Mhm.
And that benefited me. So I've been involved, like I said, I've been involved in many bands, and I got to a point where I became this freelance guy
Okay.
because I really wasn't dedicated to a particular unit, but I was somebody that I would get called,
Yes.
when somebody needed a sub. And
Well, your name always comes up in conversations, so
well,
that's a good thing.
I like
In a
it
good
very
way.
much.
In a good way.
Yeah. So I mean, and I played all sorts of music. I've played everything from calypso to reggae to funk to zydeco to, even played a little bit of country. But
What do you like the best of all the genres you've worked with? If you could pick one, what would it be? We know you can do it all, but if you could pick one, what would it be? Like with me?
it would be R&B.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be R&B because that gives me the best spread
Mhm.
of everything.
Yeah.
Because even R&B has some reggae in it a little bit.
Yeah.
It has a little rock in it.
Yeah.
And there's even some jazz inflections that come in there. So, I don't really play a whole lot of jazz because I'm not really a jazz player. But as far as the music that I love to listen to
Mhm.
or go and see performed live,
Yeah.
it's got to be jazz, man.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And I try and bring the flavor of that, where it seems appropriate,
Okay.
So, yeah, that's.
Now, I've never seen you play any upright. You play any upright at all, or is it just strictly electric?
I don't own an upright,
Okay.
but if I did, I would probably play it more.
Okay.
It's definitely a different animal.
Oh, yes, it is.
So,
Yes, it is.
It takes a little more. It's a little more physically demanding, I would say.
It can be,
Yeah.
depending on how you have it set up.
Yeah.
Like classical players, their strings are like a mile high.
Yeah.
But a jazz player like myself, I want my accent low so I can solo and just sort of don't have
Absolutely.
to dig in so much. But
Yeah.
but that's cool. That's cool. I mean, again, it's not for everybody. If you look at players like Marcus Miller, obviously phenomenal, a legendary player, but don't mess with the upright.
Yeah.
Maybe they do it like quietly or whatever, but it
Now, I can honestly say I've never seen any kind of indication that he's involved with that. I've never seen any videos or even pictures of him with at an upright.
Yeah.
But he plays the heck out of that fretless stuff.
Oh yes, he does. He does.
Yes, he does.
Indeed, indeed. So obviously he's maybe somewhat of an influence, would we say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'll talk about my influences. So now, Jocko's been an influence on me, but you know what?
Mhm.
I didn't really start getting into Jocko until long after he had passed away.
Okay.
Because I was rolling with Marcus Miller and Stanley Clark and James Jamerson and all these other cats.
Yeah.
And I had heard about this guy Jocko, but I never really checked out his music. But then later, when I started, I started hanging out with a cat that was turned out to be his brother-in-law,
Right.
Paul Horn. He passed away recently, less or so. But that's how I became exposed to Jocko. And so, even though I don't try and emulate Jocko, I try and use a lot of things that I hear.
Right.
And it's as far as not the tonality of my bass, but the things that I play.
Okay.
And
Your
how
choices, musical choices.
and how I get into how I infuse that into all of the music that I do play.
Okay.
I appreciate that very, very much. I really wish that I had been more into him way back when.
Yeah.
Because that probably would have changed. That probably would have had a bigger influence on my whole development.
Okay.
But I'm not sorry about it because I'm here right now.
Absolutely. You're still doing it?
Yeah.
Still getting the calls?
Yeah.
Okay, so on that subject, we know that you played with many, many, many projects over the years.
Yeah.
So the question is what's next for you? What do you have on the table? Any recording or anything live? What should the people know?
I'm not recording anything of my music, but I am involved in a project with a guy, Willie Lee Brown.
Willie Lee Brown. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
So I've been putting some bass tracks on some stuff that he's doing,
Okay.
and I don't know when he plans to release it, but it'll be coming out. I'm sure sometime soon.
Well, we'll all be looking out for the project with Victor Franklin helping out Willie Lee Brown, the guitar player.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Victor, thank you so much for coming out. Best of luck and blessings to you, sir.
All right, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate the fact that you asked me to do this.
Very
It's
welcome.
awesome.